If you're a viewer of my channel, then the name 39Daff most definitely rings bells. I made a video on her toxic relationship / breakup with Asu not too long ago, but while there were many interesting things I spoke about in that video, the truth on who 39Daff really is a lot more toxic than I might have portrayed her to be in that specific video. And in this video, I will explain why that is the case. So without delaying this video any longer, like and subscribe if you enjoy video essays on streamers in the gaming world. But with that being said, let's go back to the beginning of 39Daff's career. As you probably know, Apex is on a steady decline, and you might be wondering what game to play next. The issue though is the crazy high prices of video games today. Well, luckily for my viewers, I have the perfect solution for you, the sponsor of today's video, Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming lets you buy games at a fraction of the cost by sourcing the game keys directly from the original providers, not third parties. And right now, you can get NBA 2K25 for 63% off, and even FC25 for 42% off. The platform has 24/7 customer service, so if you run into any problems, rest assured they will be there for you. So if that sounds good to you, check the link in the pinned comment or description and go ahead and grab games you love at a better price. Now let's get back into the video. Back in 2017, 39Daff would begin her streaming career. At this time, she mainly did streams where she would draw art while interacting with her viewers, but the highlight of these streams was not the art she was drawing most of the time to a certain extent, but rather the personality and humor 39Daff had while doing her live streams.
I used to convince myself that I didn't need any IRL friends and I was completely okay with never going outside and doing anything ever. And then I realized, yeah, I was right. Fuck IRL friends. You're right. What the fuck? I don't need them. I have the internet.
The jokes she would make were usually edgy / satirical, but to the people who were watching her at this time, they understood that she was just messing around whenever she would say crazy shit, and that was pretty much part of who she was as a person who live streamed on Twitch. And obviously, they loved her for that. Instead of acting like the generic, small streamer that's trying to break into the streaming world, it was almost as if Daff couldn't give two shits about making it as a streamer. Her main focus at the time was selling the art she made, both off stream and on stream, art that usually consisted of anime characters, streamers, and Overwatch characters, since that was the game she was mainly playing at the time. But she did do a lot of free art in order to gain publicity in the streaming world, and one of the most notable creations Daff would make during this era was the Tyler 1 wallpaper, which I'm sure he still uses till this very day. And on top of that, she made a bunch of art for streamers, and a lot of those streamers thanked her for creating that art, which in return allowed their fans to become familiar with Daff's name, which, as you would expect, played a massive role in the future for when Daff would begin growing on Twitch. And speaking about growing on Twitch, and Daff having a very particular sense of humor, when Daff would take it upon herself to create hentai art on stream, since Daff was now known as that wholesome graphic designer that streamers would interact with every now and then, to the people who didn't watch her enough to know that she technically wasn't that wholesome, her hentai streams caught the eye of the Reddit community, more specifically the notorious r/live stream fails community, and this is where Daff would get her first real break into the streaming world. But unfortunately, what she did not know at the time was that this was the beginning stages in what would make her become known as one of the most toxic streamers in the OTV and Friends community. Whenever she did practically anything from this point forward, it would get clipped and put onto LSF with the title of "Hentai Artist Does Whatever," and as you can expect, this would grow her average viewership and following on Twitch significantly, since on August of 2019, Daff had become the LSF Streamer of the Month, or another way you could put it, the Queen of LSF during that specific month. And since, as I stated earlier, since her contributions to the streaming world through graphic designs made 39Daff a familiar name in the streaming world, once people realized that the 39Daff that was blowing up was the same 39Daff that was making free art for streamers, long story short, she was welcomed into the streaming world with open arms. But this is where things started to take a turn for the worse. Remember how in the beginning of the video, I said that Daff had a form of humor that was satirical / edgy that her fans understood was usually nonsense? Well, you see, now that Daff had a bunch of eyes on her on a level that she never had before, when she would go on her everyday yap sessions about topics that streamers would usually avoid for professional reasons, Daff's transparent personality made her vulnerable to find herself in unnecessary drama. And let's put an emphasis on the phrase unnecessary, because if you remember the time, Daff had escalated a minor incident into a full-on back and forth drama drama scenario that was being covered by the biggest streamers in the world because Pokimane thought Daft unfollowed her since Pokimane unfollowed a friend of Daft's, the notorious scammer Slicker.
She has her head so far up her own ass that she thinks I unfollowed her because she unfollowed Slicker, which Slicker talked about on his stream. But in reality, I unfollowed her months ago because I don't watch her stuff.
Since she already leaked the messages, I would like to show them to you guys now. Blushy face.
And while Pokimane got a lot of hate from this incident, like she usually does in practically every incident she finds herself in, this is when Daft started to receive lots of hate directed towards her personality. She started being viewed as an LSF industry plant who thinks streaming is revolved around what is acceptable and unacceptable in the LSF bubble she currently existed in. And as I'm sure some of you might know, the streaming community is broken down into many different subgroups, and the people who watch creators who are aligned with the LSF community are usually viewed as toxic and unlikable because that's how the livestream fails community itself is viewed by many. And unfortunately for 39 Daft, she was now seen as one of the many faces of the LSF community. Therefore, she inherited the haters that subreddit has. But besides that, being associated with LSF clearly wasn't the only reason why Daft was viewed as toxic, since because of what her and her community would usually speak about throughout her streams, Daft was known to make jokes that referenced shit that other streamers got cancelled for, and as you can expect, she did it in a passive-aggressive way, which to damn near everyone else, other than her and her fans, was clearly toxic, like the time she referenced when Pokimane accidentally showed NSFW on her streams after Daft got a Twitch violation for showing ass cheeks on her stream. And at this point in the 39 Daft story, Daft understood that all these cancellations and drama and toxicity was something she needed to do something about. She wanted to make a change in not just her public appearance, but also in protecting the joy she gets from streaming. So from this point forward, Daft decided to get rid of the community which played one of the biggest roles in her becoming successful in the first place, the notorious livestream fails community. Every time a clip would be posted to LSF, Daft would get her fans to downvote those clips in hopes that the LSF community would just leave her alone. And on March of 2020, Daft would slip up and admit that she was intentionally getting her posts downvoted on LSF, and that resulted in her not only getting banned from LSF, but also solidifying the hatred that the livestream fails community now had for her. And from this point on, she was viewed as extremely toxic by damn near everyone that wasn't a part of her very loyal fan base. And as bad as that sounds, the truth is, it really wasn't that bad, because in reality, Daft had been doing the best she ever was doing in terms of viewership and following throughout 2020 and 2021. But of course, since Daft was who she was bound to find herself in drama no matter what. Every little thing she did solidified the fact that she was toxic to the people that viewed her that way, and in cases where she would get exposed for saying racist things, incidents like this proved her haters to be right, but that was only if you stayed on the surface level and didn't do research on the things she was being cancelled for, which as you can expect, her Reddit haters never did any real research on her cancellations. They would just hop on the bandwagon. And of course, there was the Asu drama, which showed a major flaw in Daft's personality, but of course, I already made a video on that. The video link would be in the description. So to end this video off, I want to leave you guys with the question, is Daft really toxic, or is it all one big misunderstanding?